If you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious in life, you might want to check out this practical philosophy of Stoicism. Next one in this video, we're going to dive into the core principles of the philosophy and see how you can apply it to your life. But first, hello. My name is Steffi and welcome to the coffee table, a place where we read books, talk about stuff, interesting ones, hopefully, and if we're lucky, learn something. What is Stoicism? In short terms, Stoicism is a philosophy born in ancient Greek and popularized in ancient Roman. So before we dive into what Stoicism is, we need to understand first what philosophy is and what is the purpose of this study. The word philosophy comes from the ancient Greek word philosophia and literally translates to love of wisdom. Philosophy is the study of basic existential questions about life, values, existence. And most philosophy schools basically have the objective to answer these questions, particularly centered around the topic of how one lives their best life. In this sense, Stoicism is not different from other types of ancient Greek philosophy. The origins of Stoicism. According to records, Stoicism was founded by Zenon of Cetus around 300 before Christ, and it's super popular among many because of its core values of radical acceptance, self-reliance, and reason above all. Zeno was the son of a merchant. So in one of his trips delivering merchandise, I suppose, he actually went through a shipwreck. Yes, shipwreck. In this accident, he lost all his riches. However, this unfortunate event led to a series of events that resulted in Zeno studying enrolling in philosophy study. And eventually, after many years, he founded his own school. Stoicism was a bit different to other philosophies at the time because just like Socrates, Zeno was interested in teaching his philosophy out in the public, out in the street, so that everybody, rich or poor, male or female, although at this point it was mostly male, if we're to be honest, could hear his teachings and learn how to live a better life. Stoicism is founded in 4 cardinal values, which are wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. And at the center of all these virtues lies the ultimate goal, which is a concept we will look at in a bit, called eudaimonia. Eudaimonia. Yo, that's so hard to pronounce for me. So I'm going to struggle a little bit through this. Eudaimonia. So in his book here, The Little Book of Stoicism, I think the author did a great job in kind of like systematizing and summarizing what are the core values of Stoicism. So let's take a look at them. First of all, let's take a look at the center of the triangle, the ultimate goal of Stoicism and actually many ancient Greek philosophies, which is, again, eudaimonia. In general terms, eudaimonia translates to the state of being. That means that you're living your best possible, happiest life in your most fluid state by being the best version of yourself that God, the universe, nature intended you to be. No pressure. According to the author, it says this is the principal promise of the Stoic philosophy, and it involves living an extremely happy and fluid life. To quote, the Stoics believe that possession and practice of the 4 cardinal values, which we already mentioned, which are wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage, was the only true path to eudaimonia. In other words, all the practices and the principles that we're gonna look at have the objective to achieving this perfect state of mind. I'm not Illuminati, guys. It's just like the author is using a triangle. Okay. So let's take a look at the first corner of the triangle. If eudaimonia is the center and the objective, then each point of the triangle depicts a way to achieve this happy state of being, living with arete. If eudaimonia is the goal, arete is the way to get there. Arete, in essence, is the pursuit of living the best life by being our best self. To quote, to the Greeks, it meant excellence. It was the ultimate expression of human greatness, morals, physical, spiritual. It's what Stoics were chasing. It's what you're chasing today. So I don't know, man. When I first started reading this, it sounds all good and stuff, but it also sounds a bit intense to say the least. It's like, okay, what if it's Stoicism? It's the principle where you basically live your best life with your best self at all times. That to me sounds like, okay, sure. How do I do that then? It sounds a bit intense. Let's be honest. But it is for this reason that the Stoics had what is called the sage. The sage is a hypothetical character, an ideal of Stoic principles and values. Is someone who lives in permanent state of arete, and for this reason is able to live and achieve the goal of eudaimonia all the time, right? It's like the person that Stoics want to become. At the same time, it's impossible because we are humans. And I mean, even Stoics themselves, hopefully they were not crazy. They knew this. So they used the sage as a way to embody behaviors and mentality while keeping in mind that they're humans and they're going to make mistakes and they're not going to be always able to behave in a stoic way. Basically, in Arete, you have here the level of standard of the sage, and then you have your level. So Stoicism, it's all about the practice. The objective is to close this distance. Through Stoic practices, the idea is to get as close as possible as to the ideal of the sage, while keeping in mind that, well, you're probably not going to reach 100% ever, but that's fine. Another very important principle that Stoics or ancient Stoics believe is acting in accordance to our nature. And according to Stoics, divine providence, the gods, nature, whatever you want to call it, install this little flame inside of us, make us want to be the best that we can be. So by us trying to close this gap and achieving or aiming to achieve the stage state, if you will, it's just within our nature. It goes with who we are by default as humans, which lead us to the next big principle in another part of the triangle of, I guess, the eudaimonia stoic happiness, which is focus on what you can control. According to Stoicism, we have everything we need to be happy within ourselves. And the rest is pretty much icing on the cake. That's why the four cardinal values that we talk about, which are wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, are based on our actions and thoughts because are things that we can control. According to Stoicism, suffering comes from desiring the things that we cannot have or change. If you think about it, Stoicism also has some parallels similar to other philosophies like Buddhism, like that says that attachment is suffering, and radical acceptance, similar in a way to Christianity, and I'm sure other religions or philosophies as well, where they say you focus on what you can control and the rest is up for providence. For this reason, Stoics classified events in three categories: good, bad, and indifferent. Good things or good events are the things that are under our influence. These are again virtues, justice, courage, temperance, as we talk about. Bad things or bad events are what they call the four cardinal vices. So basically anything to do with bad habits, craziness, how do you call that word which I forgot? Lust, okay? And basically what could be considered immoral, if you will. And indifferent, it's pretty much everything else. This can be one of the reasons why to some Stoicism might look kind of like heartless and emotionless, because a true Stoic, for example, will not put love or relationships above their virtue and the moral. However, it is a mistake to think that Stoicism is completely selfish and individualistic philosophy. The idea of bettering oneself is actually not to serve yourself only, but the community and those around you. This is why Stoicism is so appealing to so many people, because it gives back the power to the individual. By focusing only on what we can control, then we have the ability to be happy regardless of our circumstances. So if someone comes at you and gives you a bad look or whatever, it's okay. We don't know what's going on with them. Yeah, just take it away with you. And we're doing us, basically. And the third corner of the triangle is assume responsibility. Similar to focus on what you only can control, Stoicism is all about bringing it back to the individual. Like we have everything within us to live our best possible life. For this reason, we must assume the responsibility for our own happiness. And this means a couple of things. First, we need to be what? We need to pay attention to our actions. Popularly known today as mindfulness, Stoics call attention. So meaning at every moment, again, that's the ideal. At every moment, we should be aware of how we behave, talk, and think, and see how our actions are affecting our well-being as well as the people around us. Concept of attention is super important because if we're not aware of how our actions are affecting us and affecting others, there is no way we're going to be able to assume responsibility of our actions just simply because we don't know what they are. So the cornerstone here of assuming responsibility, another concept is that we're never are to blame others or circumstances or other people or whatever for our internal emotional state. What everything and anything can be happening on the outside. At the very end, according to Stoicism, we are responsible as to how we react to these events. And that's why, again, Stoicism is all about bringing the responsibility and the power towards the individual. One famous example of modern display of Stoicism is by a philosopher, a psychologist, and neurologist that you might have heard about called Viktor Frank, the author of A Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frank basically was an Austrian who unfortunately lost all his family during the Holocaust in World War II and was imprisoned in a concentration camp. During this concentration camp, he was able to collect his thoughts and start writing this book. And then he famously wrote one of his most famous quotes, which I will read now. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. If Viktor Frank was able to make a positive out of his terrible situation, we as aspiring Stoics, or if that's something that interests you, can practice the same thing, right? We can practice bringing back the responsibility of our own emotions in spite of our adverse circumstances. Well, and that's it for me. I hope this short and quick explanation of Stoicism was helpful to you. If you want me to create another video about how you can have practical ways to implement Stoicism in your daily life, let me know. Other than that, you're more than welcome to watch some of my videos, my content. And if not, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.